Going once, going twice, sold!
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
We're excited that we have created for you over 503 Life's Inside Track episodes, and they're free. And really what they're all about is insider to insights, really, real estate insights, the market, making house home, building wealth, and even life exponential. And the best part is you get access to them from home, from the office, or even on the go.
And they're free.
Well, I forgot that. That's like a big deal. They're free, apparently.
Yeah.
So, pretending to be an auctioneer.
I was
Talk to
practicing.
me.
I wasn't pretending. I was practicing.
Practicing being an auctioneer.
Yeah.
Why on earth, as a realtor, would you want to practice being an auctioneer?
Because we were just talking in the previous episode about open and closed bids, right? And as a real estate agent, we're required to have closed bids. We're not allowed
Currently.
to disclose currently the information, but that's probably going to change.
Right? And we're hoping the sellers will get to choose.
Right. And of course they will. And right now,
Well, not if it's outlawed. Not if closed bid is outlawed.
well, that's true. But
Yeah.
right now, the projection is that they will have the choice. That's
Right.
what's in the writing of the legislature that hasn't been fully passed yet.
Okay. And so what we're going to learn in this episode is about why there's already bids happening when it's not legal yet. Like in the real estate industry, there's already an auction effect, and you can hire an auction house when you're going to sell rather than working with a realtor that is working in a closed bid system.
Yeah. And the reason that's happening, we talked
Yeah.
about REBA 2002, Real Estate Business and Brokers Act 2002.
Yeah. It's still applicable, even though it
It's-
says 2002 and it's 2022.
Yeah.
No
but-
updates.
Well, actually,
there's
there are
revisions.
TRESA,
Yeah.
TRESA, the Trust
Mhm.
in Real Estate Act,
Mm-hmm.
2020 has been passed, but not all of it is in effect because they're writing the meat on the bones of the laws.
Right.
And the only thing that they've passed is they allowed us to call us realtors now or agent instead of
Sales representative
Sales rep.
or broker.
Yep, that and they've allowed us to have a personal corporation, a professional corporation to
Right.
house our income as opposed to having to take it personally.
Right.
Those are the two changes that have come in.
That have already taken place in the last 12 months, really.
Right. And the other changes that are coming are the ability to have open bid, the ability for our governing body, RECO, Real Estate Council of Ontario, to have even bigger teeth when realtors do things that are wrong, unethical, immoral, against the code, against the act. They have larger fines, larger ability to suspend or even revoke real estate licenses.
Right. So I think that's really, that's not what this episode's about. And we better do one where you can understand that piece as well and know what's happening. And yet I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
That part of it, because I think most realtors are ethical. They follow the code of ethics and everything that we need to follow as a realtor. And you can see that there's a lot of governing bodies. Like Ken's been throwing around acronyms. Now, the nice thing is he's been explaining what they are. And yet it makes me think every time I hear the acronym, what does that actually stand for? Because there's so many governing bodies that govern how we function and live. So the good news is there's more and more and more protection for the consumer, even as things continue to change radically.
Right. And so technology has changed radically. REBA 2002 was instilled in 2002. And there was a loophole in it. We call it a loophole. It was an auctioneer exemption. Because auctioneers, from time to time, they would auction off a farm, for instance, and all the equipment and the house and the building and the content. And part of that was the ability to sell the actual piece of real estate.
Right.
So they had an exemption. But now there's a couple companies that have grabbed hold of that exemption and are basically trading in real estate without a license.
Right.
But RICO doesn't care because they're exempt.
Right.
But I care because I think the public needs to know that they're not regulated like a real estate agent is.
Well, they're just an auction house.
Exactly.
So they can kind of do almost anything and everything they want.
yeah, I mean,
they're
they
not-
can't break the law. They
I
can't do
understand.
fraudulent things. And
But
yet,
they're not governed by the strict.
code of ethics and business practices
And
that real
regulations.
estate agents
Yeah.
are. And
Yeah.
they don't have anybody to hold them account,
Yeah. There's nobody.
right? So
There's no
it-
RICO. Right. There's nothing.
Right. So they're operating now not under the old assumption of the odd time there would be an auction of the entire contents, everything, the buildings, everything. They have created an online platform kind of like
Mhm.
eBid or eBay, sorry, eBay.
Well, it's eBay, pretty much the same gig.
And people can auction off their house
Right.
on electronic auction. And when you place a bid, they have a tentative closing time. But if there's been a bid within, I think it's 3 minutes, it stays open for 3 minutes. It gives the next person time to bid. So you can see what the bids are. But how do you know each bidder is a valid bidder?
You don't. You don't even know if they have the ability to close on it. You don't know really anything. And
Yeah.
you don't know also if it's, unfortunately, somebody that's just helping drive up the price.
Yeah.
Because I've been to many an auction, not for houses, but many an auction where there's a plant to get things moving.
Did you know who the plant was?
Sometimes.
Sometimes it's me at a charity auction. I'm the
Yeah, you
plant
often are the plant.
artist.
Yeah, you've often been that plant. But the thing is, he's willing to keep going and get it moving. And then sometimes I kick him under the table or hit him across the arm or do something to tell him to stop it. You've surpassed anything I'm comfortable with now. Thank you for getting it going. Really happy that you were here and raised extra money for the charity, but back off, buddy.
But I have ended up with stuff.
Oh, so much garbage. Sorry. I don't mean like garbage, but things we definitely didn't need
Yeah.
brought into the house.
Yeah.
So
So-
we gave it away.
Yes.
Overpay for stuff and then give it away because you don't really want it.
But the charity worked.
yeah,
it's
for
all
charity, it's good.
It's all good. So TRESA 2020 was when it was passed. That's why it's called TRESA 2020. But all of its bones are not instilled yet. And we're looking at probably September where
Of
they will.
2022.
Yeah, September of this year, 2022, where they will tighten down the exemption
Mm.
on auction houses so that the only piece they can do is the actual auctioning. They can't do open houses. They can't do showings. They can't represent the seller, for the week prior. They can only receive bids and close the bid on the highest bid. And that's all they can do.
So that will help the public.
I think it will protect the
I
public.
think it will
from-
protect the consumer, protect the seller, protect the buyer, and make it much safer.
Yeah. And by the way, an auction model only works because we're in extreme shortage of supply.
Right.
If we have lots of supply, you can have an auction, nobody shows up, and then what do you do?
Well, then you try conventional real estate, but sometimes, unless you're in this kind of market, you actually do more harm than good because you have exposed it and you've kind of gotten it tired when it was not at the right place and being marketed in the right way.
hmm So we're in interesting times. The markets shift like the shifting sands in the desert.
Yeah.
And yet we've been in about a 2-year now
Yeah.
extreme sellers market.
So, yeah. And so we're grateful that we get the privilege of coming alongside you to journey through wealth, wisdom, and worth so you make amazing decisions.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward